Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, happy Sunday. Of course, the market isn't doing very well today. So, um, you know what? I'm here to give you an update, the latest update on what to do. Well, I should say, game plan on what to do if you're a Bitcoin holder and if you're a crypto holder. I know a lot of you guys are wondering if there's anything else that could be done right now while you're holding. Well, I'm gonna present some new things, I think. I'm going to present a new game plan on what you should do while there's a lot of turmoil, while there's a lot of conflict, a lot of uncertainty and FUD. So, let's get started. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on social media and check out all the latest news, article, and guides at CryptosRUs.com. And I'm sure you guys have noticed I am not at my usual place. I am actually out, but again, I wanted to just stream for you guys. I know there's a lot of fear. A lot of you guys woke up today wondering, things went down even more, right? What should I do? Well, let me give you the latest update first. Of course, unless you've been living under a rock, you know what's been happening recently, right? And there's still a lot of people that think that this is all fake, but what is happening is this. There's a lot of FUD over Ukraine and the Ukraine invasion that may or may not come within the next few days, like President Biden has said in the past. Now that the Olympics is over, is this actually going to be a thing? Because this is what President Biden has gone on record saying and gone on TV just recently saying that he believes that this is a sure thing and the invasion will come within the next few days. And that just happens to be just a few days ago, right? So the latest news is, well, Biden convenes National Security Council. So to convene and talk about next steps. A lot of talks about sanctions, about help for Ukraine, but not sending soldiers, not preparing for war. He already said that there is going to be no war, but he will do whatever it takes and talk with NATO and others and make sure that proper sanctions will be dealt. All right, so that's the latest. Now, there's more. Supposedly, 75% of Russian conventional forces is now deployed at the border against, Ukraine. Um, Secretary of State, I think it's Anthony Belkin, said that Russia is following their playbook, basically in terms of invasion. And there's a lot more things that's happening at the border. For example, there's a tenfold increase in shelling by pro-Russian separatists, and supposedly, they are just increasing just to see there's more practice drills that's been conducted, right? So there's just a lot of things that's going on right now, and that is why Biden and Blinken and NATO and Germany all believe that Russia is about to invade Ukraine, right? And even the German chancellor, he's like, you know what? We should stop talking about these sanctions because we want to keep Putin guessing. We should be talking about it after the fact, or we should just impose, sanctions before giving Putin a chance to digest the information. So, I mean, there's just a lot of stuff going on. This is what's causing uncertainty, fear, and doubt, right? So the I would say the equities market is lucky because they're closed on the weekends, right? And they don't have to see the bloodbath that crypto sees, which is 24/7. So this is what's bringing everything down right now. It's just a lot of fear. And if you look at the charts, you could see I was looking at this last night. All of a sudden, we were holding around 40,000 just fine. All of a sudden, look at the volume right here, right? The volume increased substantially. Someone got really fearful and decided to sell. And it just brought down the market. And that someone sold a ton of Bitcoin to make this happen. I mean, because we were having a pretty good time right around 40,000 until boom, now we're down to 38.3 because this massive sell right here. Now we're hovering around 38.3, right? So there's a lot of people out there, I would say traders out there, that are still very antsy about what is coming. So they're trying to prepare. Now, if you look at fear, fear is at 27. So we've fallen back from neutral to extreme fear territory. So that's not a surprise. However, if you look at liquidations, I guess this is not a surprise either, but you could see a ton of longs being liquidated left and right, left and right, left and right. And this is not helping the situation too. Not only are people getting wrecked, but they're putting a lot of down pressure on the market right now. So that's not good either, right? So this is all adding up right now. This is all adding up. So that's the latest story. I've been kind of sharing you guys updates as we've been getting them, right? But still, a lot of people that think that this is all fake. This is not real, regardless if it is or not, and whether or not the invasion happens today, tomorrow, this week, or never. We do have this uncertainty, this cloud of doubt that is upon us, right? And until we get some clarification, we're going to be living under this cloud for quite some time. And we may get more volatility because of it. That is why I think we just need to have a good game plan for us that are not traders, for us that are investors. We need to have a good game plan. All right. So first of all, let's talk about Bitcoin and the fundamentals. Has the fundamentals gotten worse because of all this? Despite all the panic selling and the traders that are selling, the fundamentals change. No, because look at this headline: inactive supply nears record as over 60% of Bitcoin stays unspent for at least a year. So the number of holders, the number of investors continue to grow and continue to stay strong. So 60% of the entire supply has not moved at all within a year. That is very outstanding. Okay. Also, in terms of the miners, Bitcoin difficulty reaches all-time high. Actually, the hash rate went up almost 50% within the last 6 months alone. So, miners are also very, very, very positive, holding strong, not panic selling. So you got long-term holders and you got miners both continuing to hold and continuing to accumulate too. So this is part of the fundamentals. So has it gotten worse? No. It has actually arguably gotten better. And even from an adoption standpoint, now you're starting to see states like the state of California now is introducing a bill to make Bitcoin legal tender. And this is not the first state. This is the second state. So in terms of adoption, Bitcoin is still growing. So part of the growing fundamentals, right? So if you're looking at this and you're evaluating Bitcoin, is this something that is getting worse? No, it's not. We do have, yes, price fluctuations. And yes, we do have traders that are still making trades and using leverage and basically, making wild trades on the exchanges. And we still do have some retail investors that are panicking and maybe some new time investors that's also panicking. Yes, we're going to have all that still, right? But long-term fundamentals of Bitcoin has never been better, and it's going to come back. It's going to come back. So there's a couple things in terms of game plan. So what should you do as an investor game plan? I think most of you guys know this already, and I've been talking about it from time and time again, right? First of all, you continue to do what the holders, investors are doing. Continue to hold. Right? The more people that hold, the less Bitcoin that's out there that's being traded and exchanging hands, right? The better it is overall. So that's number one. If you're a holder, you continue to hold. Number two is if you have the ability to DCA, you continue to do that because DCA works. Dollar cost averaging over long haul works. You can go to any calculator, go search dollar cost average, look at any calculator, and plug in some numbers like, every 2 weeks, every week, and do it over a couple of years, and you'll see that regardless of up and downs, you come up way, way, way in the green, and you don't have to worry about any of the price fluctuation. So if you have the ability to, DCA. But what should you DCA? Well, that's part of the game plan. I think Bitcoin will never be a bad idea. Buying Bitcoin is always good to DCA. But as for others, as for crypto that's not Bitcoin, you can see the total value locked, by the way, for all the chains. This is from the DeFi projects, barely moved. It's still right around 200 billion, just a little bit less, but you can see 24-hour change only a little bit. And that's because people that are in DeFi, people that are using the chains for dexes and lending and staking and swaps and liquidity pools and farming, anything you could think of, that is still being readily used and hasn't really changed all that much. It hasn't gone down nearly as much as the price. So that's another thing. If you're wondering what to buy in, you got to look at the coins and the chains that are supporting the most projects and has the most TVL. So that is, of course, the ones I've been talking about a lot, like Ethereum, Terra, Binance Smart Chain, Avalanche, Phantom, Solana, Polygon, and several others like Osmosis, which is Cosmos. You got Polkadot, you got Harmony in here. There's many, many, many good ones, right? And this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's many others that are fantastic, but these are the big boys, and I do think these are definitely worth holding on to and DCAing to. Now, you may have heard of those things, those strategies before, right? But a third thing I think is more important than ever is having cash on the side, right? And this is where I think we need to be a little bit more aggressive. I've been saying how in order to buy the dip or DCA, you need to have cash on the side, right? Otherwise, you can't. You just have to hold it. And that's okay. But in terms of dollar cost averaging and buying a dip, you need to make sure that you have enough to last, right? If we have volatility for a long time of this cloud of uncertainty because of this Ukraine thing, right? And this is not the only thing. Let's not forget what's happening in Canada too. And let's not forget what's happening in March with the rate hikes. So there's a lot of clouds out there that we need to have moved. So during this time, there's going to be a lot of uncertainty. So we need to make sure we have enough cash to be able to do the DCA over long haul or buying the dips, right? So in the past, I've said 20, 25, maybe a little bit higher in cash. But right now, I think it's smarter to have even more in cash, right? I would say 25%, probably a minimum. Now I'm looking at maybe 30%, 35%, maybe even a little bit more, at 40%. To have that in cash, and when I say cash, not like physical fiat, but even having in stable coins is fine. And you could put those stable coins into a DeFi project or some other project where you're earning rewards. So it's not just sitting there doing nothing. You could still get rewarded for it. But to have that cash pile be higher so that if we do have an extended period of uncertainty, right, you'll be able to last and be able to DCA over long haul and be able to buy the dips if they come. Now, if they don't, and we have a tremendous rally like some people think we will in the near future, well, then it's okay. It's okay, right? But if we do, then you'll be able to take advantage. So I do think having that cash pile is definitely smart right now, part of the game plan, and I do believe everyone needs to get there. Now, if you're saying, well, George, I can't because I'm all in right now, right? That's an unfortunate situation for a lot of people, but you got to figure out how to get extra cash, right? Through a side hustle or through something else. But I do think having that cash pile is very, very important right now while we're going through this uncertainty period. Hold on here. Let me make sure. Someone, Ian said, I asked you to look into Panther Protocol. Don't bother. They screwed launch style investors. Ian, I'm sorry about that. But yeah, unfortunately, this is one of the reasons why I don't look at a lot of these hyped up new projects is because, You just don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I mean, sometimes they look fantastic, and sometimes there's just problems, right? So I'm sorry that you had to go through that. I just want to answer that super chat really quick. All right. Now, with that said, there's a few other things I want to talk about. I mentioned about some think that we're going to have a ferocious rally right afterwards, and we certainly can because of how oversold Bitcoin and crypto are right now, or is right now. But if you look at Pantera Capital's Dan Morehead, he also says that basically he said the same thing I did, that the increasing rates, right, to curb inflation is good for crypto because it is. Think about it. What's the best hedge against inflation? It's Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin. So we have rising rates and we have all this money, right, that is now sitting on the sidelines because people are afraid of less liquidity. Businesses aren't going to be doing as well, right? You have a lot of traders with all this money on the side, but what are they going to do with it? You can't leave it on sideline because inflation is still growing. It's going to devalue. So what else? Where else could you park it? You can't park it in bonds. You can't park it in gold. Where do you go park it? You go park it in Bitcoin and crypto, right? So that is what Pantera Capital's Dan Morehead is making the argument for that, you know what, we're going to get a ferocious rally once people believe that, that there's nothing else to invest, which I think is true. And then also Shark Tank's Kevin O'Leary thinks that Bitcoin will appreciate dramatically in the next 2 to 3 years because of regulation. Recently, we've heard of this executive order that may be coming from President Biden also, right? That may layer in a lot of regulations and bring clarity to the market. But according to Kevin O'Leary, that's actually a fantastic thing. So to quote him, I could tell you with certainty right now because I service sovereign wealth funds and pension plans in the indexing business for all the hype around Bitcoin. None of those institutions own a single coin. They're not going to until their compliance department allows for ESG mandates. Basically, he goes on and says a lot of the funds and pension funds that he works with, they're not going to touch Bitcoin until there's regulatory clarity, right? And that's why he believes once we get it, once the US actually takes this seriously, then we will actually get a lot more money into this space. So he also believes that as well. I think the only other thing is this. Now, yesterday, apparently, there was a $1.7 million hack in NFTs from OpenSea. Now, people pointed finger at OpenSea, but it looked like it was some kind of phishing attack. That there was an email sent, and then people opened it and clicked into it, and basically allowed the hackers access to their MetaMask wallet. So that I believe is a true story because there's a lot of finger pointing left and right. A lot of people pointing fingers at OpenSea and saying that they actually had a vulnerability, but OpenSea is actually due to a phishing attack, right? So unfortunately, this happened. Still kind of shows you got to be careful who you trust. These days, if you go on OpenSea or any other DeFi project, your MetaMask opens up and it asks you to sign a signature and to log in and stuff, and you don't really even pay attention to what it's saying. So you got to be careful in terms of which projects you go to because you may be signing away your wallet and they could drain out your wallet because of it. So be careful which sites you go and which sites you use. All right. I think that's pretty much it. So let me do some Q&A. I know the market is not doing very well. If you look at overall, CMC, it's bloodbath right now. It's pretty much all red, right? But we will get through it. I've always said, right, as an investor, you got to focus long term, not short term. Traders, all about short term. Investors, long term. And the people that make the most when it comes to Bitcoin and crypto are the investors, the ones that are patient, that continue to hold it for a long, extended period of time, and the ones that actually follow through with DCA. So that is the ultimate game plan right now. That doesn't change. The only one thing I would say is to make sure you have a little bit more cash, I would say, on the side, because I think that may be advantageous as this, environment continues with this uncertainty from three different sources right now. Not only Ukraine, but also Canada and also the Fed. It's kind of like a trifecta right now. That's what we're going through. All right, let's do some Q&A. All right, I have to do Q&A again. Sorry, since I'm on my laptop, I got to do Q&A through my phone. So give me a little bit here. Let me make sure I can scroll through. Good coins to hold. Bobby Digital asks, best store value E2 wannabe is Elron, top dev project Solana. Honorable mention to okay. I think I kind of mentioned those already. I went down the list. Let's see here. Any thoughts on Kilt? Never heard of Kilt before. Mark Lope asks, BTC pumped from 5,000 to 69,000 in 1 year. Where did capital come from? Yeah, it came from institutions. I think the difference between the 2021 rise versus all the other previous times is institutions. Because if you actually look at the number of the funding from VCs, it was tremendous, way more than before. And if you look at like the number of um, wallets, the growth of the wallets, actually the growth of wallets was more on the plus 100, plus 1,000 wallets. The whales were buying in. So a lot of that came from institutions. Now retail of course joined in, but if you look at other metrics like retail interest, like Google searches for example, was nowhere near all-time high, right? So institutions definitely got in. Now some of those institutions start selling off because again they're trying to prepare for the worst. But a lot of the institutions stayed, which is why the liquid supply is still high, why the number of Bitcoins being removed from exchange is still low, right? So not everyone that got in got out, but there are, of course, ones that did. So hopefully that answers your question. Do not open that email. I never got that email, or I did. I delete it. I don't even know. Ada invading Russia. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed my Ada video yesterday. I know the timing of it right now may not seem appropriate, but you know what? There's potential there, and the more people that gets educated, the better. Uh, Anon, Anon token. No, I'm not gonna Google it. Sorry, not the right time or place for that. OMG, if the US UK ban Russia from the USD GBP and Russia legalized the BTC illegal tender, they may accept Bitcoin for trade. Could be big. Yes. I mean, Russia, I think there's a reason why Putin all of a sudden is very pro Bitcoin, right? The central bank saying that it could be used as currency, is recognized as currency. Putin says, "Hey, Bitcoin miners, come back!" Right? I think that's part of the thing for them to basically evade the sanctions and utilize it as a global currency, right? And they're not the only ones. Other countries are also doing the same thing. Ukraine also is big into Bitcoin right now. They just legalized it as well. So there are a lot of things going on behind the scenes right now. There's a lot of course, geopolitical stuff, but Bitcoin is becoming a mainstream currency. Not only a store of value, which I still believe is the best, but it is becoming the next gold, the digital gold. And pretty soon we may have like countries that's hoarding it like they have done so with gold. And they may be hoarding Bitcoin in the future, right? And with Bitcoin's scarcity and set supply, if that starts happening, Bitcoin is going to rise up very, very quickly. So that's an interesting thought. Um, J. Lore asks, underwater in ADA, but green with Bitcoin. Should I trade my ADA into BTC? Currently 70% BTC, 30 alts. I think that's a good, makeup. 70% BTC, that's a little bit higher than the 50, 25, 25 I usually talk about. But right now, I think that's okay. That's okay. Let's see. Um, Canada will freeze their crypto. That's what they're trying to do. So unfortunately, the situation in Canada hasn't gotten any better. So I don't know how that's going to end too. So that's also something that's contributing and adding to FUD right now. So yeah. Bobby R. Mac, glad you're here today. You're welcome. What is the point of BTC if it can't hold its value during times of global turmoil? Kevin, that's an interesting question, but again, what are you comparing it to? Are you comparing it to stocks, which have sold off even more than Bitcoin? Are you comparing it to gold? Gold, sure, hasn't sold off, but it hasn't ever gained. So you got to look at it that way. Like, what are you comparing it to? If you're comparing it to, say, dollars, right? Well, dollars has been deflating right in front of our eyes, or devaluing, not deflating, it's inflating. And if you look at how much it has inflated over the last 2 years, if you lost like 30 or 40%, your buying power of things have decreased by 30 or 40% within just the last few years. So, Kevin, you got to expand your timeline. You can't look at it day to day. There is nothing day to day that will hedge against everything. But you got to look at it. What about the last year? What about the last 2 years? What about since the pandemic started? What about the last 5 years? Nothing has held its value better than Bitcoin. Nothing. It's not even close. So don't look at day to day. Let's see. E 2.0 delayed in the end of the year. Last I heard it was June, but maybe it is going to be delayed. It wouldn't be surprising, but you know what? They can't delay much further because the other chains are catching up. They're catching up in a big way. So, um, Omar, if you had to guess, when will Bitcoin reclaim 60 or 50K? I'd say by latter half of this year. I mean, this invasion thing, right? Whether or not it comes, I mean, we're gonna get clarity on that soon, right? If there's no invasion in the next few weeks, then we know that was obviously it's not imminent. And if we hear that there's a ceasefire or Russia's not gonna do it or whatever, we'll go get clarity with that. The Fed, we're gonna get clarity of that in March, right? What they're gonna do. So I think we're gonna get clarity on that too. As for Canada, I think we're going to get an ending to that situation, that saga soon. So, say the latter half of this year, I would say after Q3, starting Q3 on, I think we're gonna have a good shot of continuing back up again. Um, let's see. ANC Anchor is still fantastic to be staking UST. I have a tremendous amount in there, and UST is rock solid because it's a stable coin. And Anchor, I mean, just allows you to make 19.5 daily, yeah, APY, but you're making rewards. You're getting rewards basically every day. Um, is my BTC safe from seizure in a Coinbase wallet? Yes. There's a difference between Coinbase and Coinbase Wallet. The Coinbase Wallet app is actually a non-custodial wallet, meaning you hold your keys on your phone and no one can take that away from you. If you're holding your crypto within Coinbase itself, that's a different story. They can seize that from you. So there is a difference between that, but that's why a lot of people also don't feel like they could trust Coinbase Wallet, the app, because it has Coinbase in the name, and there is integration into Coinbase if you wanted to. So if you look at another one like Trust Wallet, it's very similar, but I would argue it's better. George, is mining Bitcoin still worth it? I got a video card for that. No, you can't. You can't mine Bitcoin with a video card. That's not efficient. If you got a video card, then you can mine Ethereum still, which I hear is very profitable. So you can look into that. But usually, just one is not worth it. You need to build a whole rig, like 6 or 7 GPUs. You think VThor will ever go over 2 cents again? Maybe. VThor, keep in mind, is inflationary. That's why I've always said just stick with VET. If you're sticking with VeChain, I like VET way better than VThor. Becoming ever more difficult to hold every single day. When would you distribute your portfolio into safer assets like BTC? But getting to me. Well, it depends. If you're not following 50-25-25, it sounds like you're like mostly, if not all, into altcoins. And I've always said this, BTC, if we do have corrections or volatility, BTC holds the strongest out of all the altcoins out there, right? So if you do need to rebalance, then you do need to rebalance. It's up to you when you want to do that, right? But right now, the game plan is also, I believe everyone should have a good amount of cash, and that cash could be stable coins, okay? But you need to have a good amount so that you could DCA if needed over a long haul, right? So hopefully that helps. Thoughts on GBTC? I mean, I'd much rather hold BTC than GBTC. I don't hold any GBTC. According to sentiment, .NET chart dev activity rate, fastest innovating coin is Solana, close behind is ADA and DOT and ETH and Link. Okay. Okay, good. Financial advisors are worthless. Source for crypto financial plan. Are you looking for a financial advisor for crypto? You're not gonna find one. No, you're not gonna find one at all. So that actually will probably be a new thing in the future because I've talked to a few financial advisors. None of them know about crypto. They just want you to give them your money so they can invest it and park it into funds that they think are good. Sometimes funds that only their bank allows, right? That's why I don't trust financial advisors all that much. I mean, if you have a ton of money and you just want to park it, not worry about it, then sure, I think that's great. But if you want to build wealth, that's not what a financial advisor is for. In my opinion, a financial advisor is to help preserve wealth. So if you have a lot of money, you don't want to actively grow it by leaps and bounds, then yeah, go with a financial advisor. But if you do want to build wealth, right, that's where you got to do homework and pay attention and get involved with crypto, in my opinion. I miss vodka and Coke. Okay. Crypto Maniac, I appreciate that. All right, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. Get back to my day. I'll let you guys get back to yours. Overall, right now, I know it's scary. Not looking good. Obviously, I know things have come down, right? We're hovering at 38,000. Obviously, not even back at 40,000 yet. And a lot of you guys are wondering whether or not it's going to get better, whether or not it's going to get worse, continue to hodl. And my answer to that is yes. At least the last thing I said. Yes, I think we're going to get more clarity, but we have to wait it out because we're in a perfect storm of uncertainty right now, right? The very first thing we need to get through is whether or not this invasion is going to happen. Is it fake? Is it real? Right? We need to get more clarity on whether or not it's going to happen. And until then, we're going to get this, we're still going to be in this uncertainty stage. And then we need to get clarity on the Fed. We need to get clarity on Canada, right? We need to get clarity on all these things. But the game plan is still the same. Continue to DCA. If you can, continue to hold. Don't make rash decisions. Don't panic sell. It's not going to help you. But the third thing I want to layer in is make sure to get some cash on the side, because under these uncertainty situations, it may last a while, right? And if you want to take advantage, you want to DCA over long haul. If you want to be able to buy the dips, you got to have cash on the side. So make sure that is part of your game plan. And I would say going up from the, my original thinking about 20, 25, 30%, even going up from there, 25, 35, 35%, or 30, 35%, maybe even 40% would be advisable at this point, because we just don't know how long this is going to last. All right, guys, smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys later, probably not tonight, maybe tomorrow. All right, so make sure you hit that notification bell and follow me on social media, and I will see you guys later. All right, have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.